Hey there, so the cards are still here. So welcome to part 2 of the 7 worst remakes and sequels. So here we go, continuation of the list that I started in the last, well, that video. That's part 1 of this. This is part 2, the second one. Hopefully it's not a bad sequel like these are. But let's start with remakes again. For the people that weren't here for the first part of the video, number 7 was When a Stranger Calls. Number 6, Godzilla. Number 5, The Wicker Man. Number 4, The Fog. And number 3, Black Christmas. Oh, this is a remake that I did have fun with after a while. It is a horrible, horrible, horrible film. And that's what kind of makes it fun in some spots. But Black Christmas was a classic film. Black Christmas is my favorite horror film of all time. A 1974 Bob Clark classic. This, however, is not. This is done by a director that at the time had just made a movie that he felt confident about that failed. And let's just say, he was on a downslope, and his lack of confidence shows in what comes across here. Basically, you've got a Bart Simpson yellow skin killer killing people, and God, it is bad. But it is marvelously bad. In some ways, not quite as good in a bad way as, take something like a Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, but still, it was bad nonetheless. And its twist at the end is, just watch it if you haven't seen it, because it is a beautiful cast. There's gorgeous ladies in this film, but oh, it's really bad. But the icicle scene, top notch. Sequels. Number 3, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. It's a sequel, and it's one of the worst movies that I've ever seen in my entire life. This was not an enjoyable movie. I rewatched the first Halloween that Rob Zombie did, and I noticed that throughout it, the parts where he tried to be more John Carpenter, he failed miserably, and some aspects in which he tried to do his own things actually worked for me. Now, in this movie, nothing worked for me. It was supposed to be Rob Zombie's complete take on this original take, the way he wanted it done. Trust me, he bitched enough about making the first one. He was never going to make another one. And then he made this, and he bitched about that. But it's a horrible movie. From the White Horse to the murders that are supposed to be brutal, like the murder of the nurse, Octavia Spencer, at the beginning, which is so overdone that it comes off as comical, and I don't think was supposed to. By the way, she's going to be playing Angela Lansbury's character, Murder She Wrote. I'm not sure about that. She's supposed to be a great actress, but I'm not sure about the way that they're doing it. It's in the hospital. It's more diagnosed as murder. Oh, anyway, I digress. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is not a fun film. It's not even one that you can really say, okay, at least I enjoyed it for this. The characters are written extremely inconsistent. The only thing you can say is that Brad Dourif and Danielle Harris are extremely great actors, even when they're given really, really crappy material. Gotta say that right now. But this movie is horrible. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is probably one of the worst things I ever had to sit through. And it took me a few sittings through to actually see this movie. And I am a die-hard, hardcore fan of slashers, and especially of Michael Myers. Remakes. Number 2. And I was up and down between which one was going to be in the number 1 spot. But in the number 2 spot, Nightmare on Elm Street. This is the other one with Katie Cassidy. And she is introduced, and pretty fleshed it pretty well for for her role in the film. And as usual, she plays a character that's much more likable than the lead and gets killed off. When you realize who the actual lead is, and that's someone that did stuff and hated this film, by the way. And according to a video I recently watched, hated enough that she almost quit making films. Not Katie Cassidy, but Rooney Mara. And Nightmare on Elm Street is boring. It's very boring and unoriginal. And I know it's a remake, but this is 2013. It was 2012 or 11. I don't care when it came out. But there's been enough advances in technology that Freddy's in a freaking dream world. These people are having dreams. Please be a little bit more. Do something with your with what you got. Do something with your idea. They didn't. It became a standard killer and very boring. And the last thing Nightmare on Elm Street should be is boring. It's probably the worst possible thing you can say about one of these films. Unoriginal and boring. That makes Nightmare on Elm Street one of the worst possible remakes of all time. Number 2, and sequels. And why is this number 2 instead of number 1? Well, because the first one wasn't very good either. But this one is epic in its badness. And you'll watch it. Oh, you'll watch it. Because if you're a fan of bad movies at all, you've probably seen this one a dozen times. And that is Troll 2. The acting, the writing, the fact that there's no trolls in the film. There's goblins. This movie actually had nothing to do with Troll. And just like Carrie, The Rage, it was tacked on. It's a great documentary about the making of it. I got people's reaction to it called Best Worst Movie. Love that documentary. You should really, really check it out, guys. And check out Troll 2. You'll see everybody coming on, either showing the clip to it or doing the oh my god thing. He's eating her. They're eating her. I'm not going to eat. No, I'm just not going to do it. It's just so pricelessly bad. Everything about this movie is horrific in such a beautiful way that you gotta watch it. Troll 2 is my number 2 worst sequel of all time. I'm at my number 1, so I got it. Number 1 worst remake. Psycho. Gus Van Sant's version of Psycho is hands down probably the worst remake that I've ever had the displeasure watching. Vince Vaughn is horribly miscast. The idea to try and do the movie shot for shot while putting in a couple extra little things along the way made this seem less like a professional film and more like something that you would do as a project in film school. This very much comes off as a failed film school project. Something with some guy that thinks he's better than he is and wants to prove it by making a shot-for-shot remake. This is the shit you do in film school. This is not the shit you put out to major studios and expect people to go in theater and see. Badly casted, badly done, bad execution, horrible. Worst remake of all time. Or a sequel. I almost forgot this one. Sleepaway Camp was a fun slasher movie. Still not the best acted and stuff, but did some great stuff. It was fun and it had some unique kills. And obviously it had an ending that everybody remembered. It's coming out soon on Blu-ray by Scream Factory. Collector's Edition. Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 changed up the formula for kind of an 80s fun horror comedy thing. Had Pamela Springsteen. Yes, that is Bruce Springsteen's sister. She's a great photographer, by the way. And then, after waiting so long, Felissa Rose came back to the role. that made her famous. Oh, God. Return to Sleepaway Camp. It's my #1 pick for the worst sequel of all time. When you have a protagonist who is like the most unlikable character in the film, to the point where you want to cheer the bullies or the killer in hopes that, hey, maybe they'll kill this guy. And the fact that his catchline in the movie is, your ass stinks. That's his comeback. That's what he uses a lot in the acting in this movie. Yeah. The dude from Troll 2 gets an Oscar compared to the acting in almost all through this movie. Poor Felicity Rose. Waited so long to see her come back into the role, only to see this. Well, you guess where she is when she's playing somebody else? Yeah, you're going to guess. Trust me. You're totally going to get this one. Nah, you're not going to hide it. Can't. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible in a good way. And oh, look at that. That's crap. No, not even in a good way. This is a really bad movie, guys. Return to Sleepaway Camp is probably one of the worst. No, it is the worst sequel of all time. Even worse than Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, because Halloween 1 wasn't the best in the first place. But there's so many places he could go. So, yeah. See that? I mean, everything else on here is better than this one. Troll 2. And Troll was a horrible movie. It wasn't a good movie. I mean, like that Sonny Bono and Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and it's not a very good movie. But Sleepaway Camp at least had already had sequels that were proven fairly successful. I thought the third one was pretty mad, but there were so many places you could go, and you had the original actress back. And it wasn't like she wasn't young when she did it, and now she's older, and she became like horrible looking. She's really attractive. Felicity Rose is a very attractive lady, and she grew up very well. Anyway, those are my top 7. Hopefully, or bottom 7. Hopefully you guys like this one. Just give me a thumbs up, comment down below, and you know what time it is, guys. For me right now, I actually feel like rewatching Return to Sleepaway Camp. Maybe it's the time to rewatch Return to Sleepaway Camp. While I'm doing it, get a drink, because it is time for tea.